our continent. Africa, the continent we call home, was part of the single supercontinent on Earth called Pangaea. Pangaea was formed about 300 million years ago and was the largest landmass on Earth. About 250 million years ago, magma moving under the surface of Pangaea caused it to start splitting into two smaller pieces. A piece to the north known as Laurasia and a piece to the south known as Gondwanaland. The two pieces began to drift apart, continental drift, and break into smaller pieces about 180 million years ago. Gondwana split into Africa, the Indian subcontinent, South America, Madagascar, Australia, the Arabian Peninsula, that's Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Yemen, and Antarctica. Today, Africa, as we know, it is the second largest continent. It covers about 1/5 of the total land surface of Earth, covering approximately 30365,000 square kilometer. To the west of Africa is the Atlantic Ocean, and the east coast borders the Indian Ocean and the Red Sea. In the south, at the southernmost tip of South Africa at Cape Agulhas, the Atlantic and Indian Oceans meet. Degree latitude runs almost exactly through the middle of Africa. Most of Africa lies within the tropical region between the Tropic of Cancer in the north and the Tropic of Capricorn in the south. Because of the bulge shape formed by West Africa, the largest section of the continent lies in the northern hemisphere. Africa is also crossed by the prime meridian, 0-degree longitude, which divides the Earth into the western and eastern hemispheres. The prime meridian also sets Coordinated Universal Time, UTC, which all countries use to measure their time zones. Did you know that Madagascar, found off the east coast of Africa and one of the largest islands in the world, is actually a part of the African continent? The small islands of Seychelles, Socotra, Comoros, Mauritius Reunion, Ascension, St. Helena, Tristan da Cunha, Cape Verde, Darbijagos Island, Bioko, Sao Tome, Principe, the Azores Madeira, and the Canary Islands, to name a few, are all part of Africa as well. Did you know that Africa was joined to Asia by the Sinai Peninsula until the construction of Suez Canal, built between 1859 and 1869? The whole of Africa is generally a large plateau consisting of ancient rocks rising steeply from narrow coastal strips. The plateau is higher in the southeast and tilts down toward the northeast. The northwestern part of Africa includes the Sahara Desert, the Atlas Mountains, and the Ahgar Mountains in the Sahara. The southeastern part includes the Ethiopian Plateau, the African Plateau, and the Drakensberg Range, South Africa, where the plateau edge forms an escarpment. Geologic structures of Africa is the Eastern African Rift system or valley. It lies between 30° and 40° east and is one of the longest rifts cracks on the Earth's surface. It starts in Jordan in southwestern Asia and extends southward through eastern Africa all the way to Mozambique. The rift is approximately 6,400 km long and averages 48 to 64 km wide. Africa contains some of the world's largest reserves of fossil fuels, metallic ores, gems, and precious metals. It also has a great diversity in fauna and flora. Africa is covered by lush equatorial rainforest and large populations of the wildlife, especially in the eastern and southern parts of the continent. Did you know that Accra, Ghana, is one of the closest cities in Africa to the prime meridian? The wide range of climates and other factors like accessibility to food and water has influenced where humans have settled across Africa. Our content has been inhabited continuously since the dawn of humanity, which is why Africa, and specifically South Africa, is called the cradle of humankind. Other parts of Africa, however, especially areas like Sahara, have only been inhabited for short periods due to the harshness of the climate. So although Africa is the second largest continent, it is only home to about 10% of the population of the world. Mention Africa, our continent. Circle the correct answers. Africa can be described as the line of latitude 0 degree that runs through Africa is known as. The equator divides the earth into. The prime meridian is also known as. Where does the East African Rift System run? List 3 things that make Africa a unique continent. Explain the purpose of prime meridian. Give a reason why Africa has large areas that are not inhabited. Ninth, explain in a paragraph about how the continent of Africa was formed. I'm sure you will first answer and then check for your answers if in case they match, or feel free to form few more questions and then answer them. Thank you.